Get ready for some mind-blowing moments. We're diving into the top 15 most astonishing coincidences that will leave you speechless. Number 15 takes us back to World War I, a conflict that changed the world forever. On June 28, 1914, Archduke Franz Ferdinand's assassination sparked a chain reaction of events leading to war. But what's even stranger is that the Archduke's chauffeur was driving him in a car number 214, which eerily matched the year and month of his death, June 1914. This uncanny coincidence seemed to predict the devastating outcome of a global conflict that would claim millions of lives. Can you believe it? Let's time travel back to World War I for another jaw-dropping coincidence. Archduke Franz Ferdinand's assassination was the spark that ignited a global conflict. But what if the car he was in had a hidden message? After the Archduke's tragic death, his vehicle ended up in a Vienna museum, where a curious tourist discovered the license plate A118 in 2004. The numbers matched the armistice date, November 11, 1918, when the war finally came to an end. Was it just a crazy coincidence, or did this car's plate have some sort of prediction power? You decide. You won't believe what happened behind the scenes of one of Hollywood's most terrifying films, The Omen. Released in 1976, this chilling flick about a little boy who's actually the Antichrist sent shivers down audiences' spines. But did you know that things got really spooky off-screen? It's said that The Omen had a dark curse hanging over it, and some of the craziest incidents include a dog handler getting mauled by a Rottweiler on set, planes carrying crew members being struck by lightning not once, not twice, but 3 times. But the most disturbing part, 2 crew members lost their lives, and here's the kicker. This happened just one day after filming a scene with wild baboons that attacked Damien and his mom. The trainer responsible for handling the animals met a shocking end. He got killed by a tiger even though it wasn't involved in the movie. Spooky, right? You're probably thinking it's time to grab a flashlight and head out of here. But hold on, there are more eerie twists to this tale of supposed Hollywood curses. Some folks still believe that The Omen's dark energy was to blame for the strange accidents and fatalities during its production. But what about years later, when one of the film's special effects supervisors was working on another project? In a jaw-dropping turn of events, he and his wife were involved in a car crash. And guess what? His injuries mirrored those suffered by a character in The Omen. Coincidence or curse? You decide. Imagine you're in 1944. And the stakes are sky high. Allied forces are about to launch the biggest seaborne invasion in history on D-Day. But just as things are getting intense, something strange happens. Codenames for the secret operation start popping up in a popular British newspaper's crossword. 3 major beach names were already revealed, leaving generals scrambling, wondering if enemy spies had somehow infiltrated their top-secret plans. And then it happened again. 5 more times, other crucial code words made an appearance in print. Was this just one heck of a coincidence, or did the Nazis have inside help? You won't believe this spooky tale. It's July 4th, 1776. America is on the verge of declaring independence from Britain when something strange happens. A cryptic phrase linked to the Continental Congress appears in an obscure pamphlet. People started whispering about the curse of July 4th. Turns out, a young apprentice printer had accidentally included it in his work after overhearing some delegates discussing it. The phrase was innocently meant as a title, but sparked a chilling mystery. Could this be a sign that the British were trying to send a message? As historians dug deeper, they found no evidence of foul play, just an unsuspecting teenager who unknowingly became part of American history. July 4th, a day of freedom and celebration, but also one shrouded in mystery and superstition. It's a chilling fact that 3 US presidents who signed the Declaration of Independence met their untimely demise on this very date: Thomas Jefferson, John Adams, and James Monroe. You might think it's just an extraordinary coincidence, but many believe there's something more sinister at play. Could you call it the curse of July 4th, as newspapers from back in the day sensationalized the connection? A spooky legend was born. So, did these founding fathers really suffer a fatal fate? Or is this just a wild historical whodunit? Step into the spotlight with us as we dive into the incredible history of Life magazine. This American icon first hit newsstands way back in 1883, but it wasn't until 1936 that its legendary status really began. That's when Henry Luce, the genius behind Time magazine, transformed Life into a weekly powerhouse filled with captivating stories and awe-inspiring photography. The very first issue of this fresh format featured an iconic image, a doctor cradling baby, George Story. Little did anyone know that this tiny tot would one day become a journalist and even occasionally contribute to his namesake magazine as an adult. Get ready for a dramatic turn as we explore 2 pivotal moments that marked the end of an era. First up, let's revisit the legendary Life magazine. In a mind-blowing twist of fate, George Story, the baby who stole hearts in its very first photo spread, would go on to live a full life that mirrored the magazine's own journey. As Life's final curtain call approached in 2000, the publication scheduled its last issue to coincide with April 4th, the same day George Story sadly passed away due to cardiac arrest. In an emotional tribute, the farewell edition was aptly titled A Life Ends, featuring a powerful story that brought full circle the magazine's inception and its connection to the baby who starred in its first photo. And now, let's leap into 1989 for our next fascinating fact. On November 9th, history was rewritten as the Berlin Wall came crashing down, reunifying the German city. But did you know this wasn't the first significant event on this fateful date? November 9th holds a special place in Germany's past, being remembered as the Day of Fate, and this wasn't its first appearance. In 1848, Robert Blum, an influential German politician, lost his life for fighting for freedom during the Vienna Uprising. The Berlin Wall's collapse would mark yet another day of fate, leaving a lasting impact on the country's history. Buckle up for a thrilling ride as we uncover more jaw-dropping connections and significant events tied to November 9th. After the Berlin Wall fell in 1989, let's travel back in time to see why this day keeps popping up in history. Fast forward to 1918, when World War I was nearing its end. Kaiser Wilhelm II of Germany unexpectedly stepped down on November 9th, paving the way for a new republic and thwarting communist forces from taking control. But that wasn't the only dramatic turn on this date. Just 5 years later, Adolf Hitler led the beer hall putsch in Munich, an ill-fated march that would land him in prison for writing his infamous book, Mein Kampf, and laying the groundwork for the Nazi Party's rise to power. Unfortunately, November 9th continued to be a day of infamy. In 1938, it marked the beginning of Kristallnacht, or the Night of Broken Glass, when German forces and civilians viciously attacked the Jewish community, destroying 267 synagogues and killing at least 91 Jews. The horrors didn't end there. Over 30,000 were arrested and sent to concentration camps, a dark milestone many consider the start of systematic persecution against the Jewish people. As you can see, November 9th has been etched in history books for its profound impact on Germany's fate. It may be a coincidence, but this date is undeniably significant and serves as a reminder that our world is shaped by events that unfold on just one day each year. Get ready to rev up your engines and dive into one of Hollywood's most enduring mysteries, James Dean's curse. This charismatic actor's life was cut tragically short in a car crash at just 20. 4 years old, on his way to a racing event. James Dean was behind the wheel of his Porsche 550 Spider, which he nicknamed Little Bastard. As fate would have it, this fateful drive would become the stuff of legend. The crash that took James Dean's life left his car beyond recognition, but somehow it was salvaged and its reputation began to take a dark turn. It burst into flames in storage, yet it was restored, and parts from this little bastard were used to fix other vehicles. Fast forward to some unsettling coincidences. Cars rebuilt with these parts were involved in serious accidents and even claimed the lives of their owners or spectators at racetracks. This eerie tale has led many to believe that James Dean's car is cursed, a notion that continues to captivate us to this day. Could it be mere coincidence, or does Little Bastard still hold secrets? You're wondering if Little Bastard's series of unfortunate events could be more than just a strange coincidence, a possible curse that refuses to rest. While we may never uncover the truth, one thing is certain: James Dean's Porsche has become an enduring symbol in pop culture folklore. Now, let's take a journey into another intriguing mystery. Meet Franz von Stuck, a renowned German painter and sculptor whose works often drew inspiration from Egyptian mythology. But did you know that he once created a chilling painting called The Sin, which would eerily predict the rise of Adolf Hitler? Meet Franz von Stuck, an artistic trailblazer whose work captivated audiences during his time and earned him prestigious honors. However, after his passing in 1928, his creations were largely forgotten, only to regain appreciation decades later. Interestingly, Adolf Hitler, a self-proclaimed art enthusiast, had a special affinity for von Stuck's style. But here's where it gets intriguing. One of von Stuck's lesser-known paintings from 1889, titled The Wild Chase, showcases the Germanic god Wotan on horseback, leading an army of spirits. As you take in this dark and haunting piece, you might notice a striking resemblance between Wotan's appearance and that of Adolf Hitler. The catch: this painting was completed the same year Adolf Hitler was born. Could von Stuck have inadvertently predicted one of history's most infamous leaders? Or did Hitler draw inspiration from his favorite artist's work to create his distinctive look? Get ready for a wild story about a song that took on a life of its own. You might be humming Frank Sinatra's My Way right now, but did you know it's got a dark side? This catchy tune became an anthem for those living life without regrets and is still a top karaoke hit globally. However, in the Philippines, it's a different story, one that'll make you think twice about belting out your favorite tunes in public. Between 2002 and 2012, a series of murders took place while My Way was being sung in bars, leaving between 6 to 15 victims behind. Yes, you read that right. It wasn't just a couple of isolated incidents, but a worrying trend that saw people getting killed over karaoke performances. One eerie incident even involved the song's security guard taking out someone who allegedly sang off-key. The Philippines took drastic measures by removing My Way from many karaoke machines to avoid any more fatalities, but has it actually made a difference? Meet Violet Jessup, the unsinkable stewardess. You might know her from the infamous sinking of the Titanic, but what you might not know is that she survived this tragedy. And it wasn't even her first close brush with disaster at sea. Just a year before, Violet was on board the Arms Olympic, the Titanic's sister ship. No small feat considering it was the largest civilian liner back then. Little did she know, these two maritime incidents were just the beginning of her incredible journey. Violet Jessup, she's got 9 lives. You might have thought her close calls would be a wake-up call, but nope. After surviving the Titanic disaster, she jumped right back into the fray, this time with the British Red Cross on the Homs Britannic, another sister ship to the Titanic. And guess what? The Britannic didn't stand a chance either. It hit a mine and sank in just 55 minutes, leaving 50 people dead. Violet was forced to make yet another daring leap into lifeboat No. too, but not before getting seriously hurt from hitting her head on the boat's iron rim during the jump. Talk about an adventure at sea. Violet Jessup's life is giving us major plot twist vibes. She worked her way onto all three sisters, the Olympic, the Titanic, and the Britannic, and each one went down in a massive disaster. Was this just bad luck, or was there something more behind it? Let's dive into the story of the Titanic, an unsinkable ship that was supposed to be the epitome of naval tech. But here's the thing. Some experts at the time had major doubts about its seaworthiness, and if you think about it, they were kind of right. You won't believe who predicted the Titanic disaster before it even happened. Meet Morgan Robertson, an American author with a chilling tale called Futility, published in 1898, 14 whole years before the real tragedy struck. In his book, a ship called the Titanic hits an iceberg in the North Atlantic and goes down, resulting in a massive loss of life. Now, here's where things get seriously eerie. This fictional ship had identical dimensions to our beloved Titanic, and the story unfolds at the exact same time of year as the real event. When people freaked out about the apparent prophecy, Robertson swore up and down that he wasn't psychic or anything. He just did his research on ships. But still, it's one heck of a coincidence, right? Meet Joseph Figlock, a real-life superhero from Detroit, Michigan, who became a legend in his own time. Back in 1937, Joe was just doing his job as a street sweeper when he got an unexpected delivery on top of his head, a baby that had fallen from the 4th floor above. Yes, you read that right. A 4-story fall landed this tiny human on Joe's shoulders, giving them both quite the nasty bumps. Miraculously, they both survived and made full recoveries. So, we've got to ask, what are the chances of someone becoming a human baby cushion twice in their lifetime? You won't believe this next mind-blowing coincidence we just heard about Joseph Figlock's incredible luck or bad luck, depending on how you look at it, of being a human baby cushion twice in his lifetime. But wait, there's more. In another astonishing incident from the same year, a Finnish twin named Matty was riding his bike when disaster struck. He got hit by a lorry and didn't survive. Here comes the jaw-dropping part. Matty's identical twin brother, Eero, who lived 450 miles away in Ray, reportedly passed away just hours later. The news of Matty's death had an incredible impact on Eero's heart, which stopped beating soon after he heard the tragic news. Coincidence or more to it? But here's a story so mind-boggling, you'll wonder if fate itself was playing a twisted game. A Finnish twin named Eero lived a life intertwined with his identical brother Matty until the unthinkable happened. When Matty died after being hit by a lorry, police searched for next of kin and finally reached Eero hours later, but it was too late. However, in an eerie turn of events, just 2 hours after Matty's accident, Eero himself was tragically killed by another lorry just 1 mile away from the first scene. Authorities confirmed that there was no way Eero could have known about his brother's fate, calling it a devastating coincidence. But some still believe that the second twin may have sensed something and made a final journey to reunite with his sibling, leaving us pondering the mysteries of the human experience. Now, let's move on to our next extraordinary tale, a couple who experienced 2 major global catastrophes during their vacations, which we'll dive into in just a moment. But here's a twist that'll leave you speechless. Imagine being in the wrong place at the wrong time not once, but 3 times. A daring couple from the UK found themselves smack in the middle of some of history's darkest moments during their getaways. They were in New York on 9/11, London during the 2005 bombings, and Mumbai when the terrorist attacks shook the city in 2008. Talk about a bad vacation streak. While they might be considered the world's unluckiest travelers, it's a miracle they made it home alive.